are hitting the ground running with our first film of the year, The
I
Holdovers.
think this movie was amazing. Paul Giamatti did a great job. Uh, Lavindra Randolph, amazing. Dominic Sessa did an amazing job as well.
I like that it was kind of quirky and had like very quirky characters and just like really good writing. It really does feel like a film that was made in the 70s, even though obviously it was made in current and present day. Um, the feel and the look to it was just very 70s. Like it looks like it could have been a film made in that time. I really like that every character had their moment to develop. Like everyone had their own arcs, and you got to see those arcs explored in this, and that incorporated the politics and the social landscape of the time without it kind of eclipsing the personal stories that we were watching.
The fact that it looks really set in the 1970s, like I think our director Alex Payne, he said it was very easy for him to find scenes and locations to shoot in Massachusetts area, and he said specifically capturing that aesthetic of the 1970s. It was really easy because he said New England is like really slow to change. Like a lot of those
Mm.
structures and buildings are still there.
Yeah, I think I heard him say in an interview that he was very insistent on filming during winter. Like he
Yeah.
didn't want to film and have to like add fake snow and stuff. He wanted it to be very authentic. Every scene that was shot and how it was composed was very intentional. Like it was definitely telling you something about the character or like where the character was in their story. Paul Giamatti plays Paul Hunnam. I don't know anyone else who could have played this role. Like it does seem like it was like handcrafted for Paul Giamatti. He plays like a crotchety old man, but from the beginning, I already knew like him and Angus were gonna be cool.
Eventually, yeah,
Yeah, because we kind of seen that dynamic before in other stuff. So it's not like I don't think they're trying to like bait you with something that you've never seen before. But I think
yeah.
that how they're exploring these different things of like that's personal, but also like pretty general and what's happening in society at that time. I think that that makes a lot more sense of like how the relationship goes because it's not like an automatic like okay I didn't like you in the beginning, but halfway through like we're besties. Like it's not that. It's a very gradual build, and even towards the end, it's still not like they're not like skipping off, into the sunset together. It's still like a little bit of a distance between the two, but like a respect and appreciation for the other person, which is great. Like they actually really do great things for each other that you might not have expected at the
Yeah.
beginning. I just really like how he was written and how like his own principles kind of change as the movie goes on.
Paul Giamatti has had like one of the biggest, or not say biggest, the longest continual career in Hollywood, I think. Like we forget like how good of an actor he is. Like he's had a really well established career as a character actor, on amazing projects. I loved his role in this because I thought he would at some point him and any of the kids would have got along anyway.
Mm,
Like watching this movie is a perfect example of me of how really mentorship kind of works in a way. It's not something
mm.
like you say, "Oh, that kid needs help. Let me go help him." No, you got to kind of ease into it. And I look back on like I wouldn't say I was a perfect kid growing up, like very much causing trouble. And I look back at all the teachers I had who I really vibed with, and it was kind of this relationship. They just saw one thing in me, and they didn't let go. And they drove me like,
I think it really drove home like the importance of teachers and how valuable they are and how they're not
yeah,
just educators. They're also parental figures, caregivers, social workers. Like they have to do a lot.
a lot.
Like
Yeah,
they have so much responsibility, which is why one, they need to be paid more, but also not everyone can do that job. Like I
yeah,
know like there have been some great teachers, but there have been some I've had
bad.
some bad teachers. But the teachers who have really defined me, some of them it wasn't like an automatic connection. Like we didn't
Yeah.
hit it off immediately. But as the year went on, we became really close. So it's like, and I really needed those mentorships and that guidance when I was that age. So it's like, it's a very valuable thing. And I think they really highlight that in this movie, like just how important having someone else who isn't a parental figure in your life
Mhm.
actually look out for you because in this character Angus's parents are like not really in his life. They don't really care about him. Um not his biological dad, but like the stepdad and his mom, they leave him at the school. Like that's the reason why he's there over Christmas break. Like they don't they don't want to see this child. And that hurts, like what they end up being for each other, not only them, but Mary,
Yeah,
played by Divine. That was their little family. And I was living for it. I
yeah.
was living for the makeshift family.
You have like a crotchety old man who's kind of alone. You have a boy whose parents abandoned him, and you have a woman who is a widower and lost her son, and they're all on like different levels of mourning. In a way, I think
Mm,
Paul Giamatti's character does a real good way of masking it. He's constantly drinking or reading in order, and he doesn't really want to form like bonds like with the waitress. Like he doesn't want to really
mm,
form emotional bonds with them, even though they both kind of like each other. You know, she's missing something and he's abandoned. So they were all needing somebody. For some reason, in the holiday season, everybody kind of feels that the most. You know,
yes.
that's why like
Yeah.
you people like the most common depression everybody sees in depression because you really do feel it a lot during the holidays. There's something about the holidays where something's in the air where you feel joyful, and where you don't have that around you, you just feel so like so sad.
It's such a weird time where everyone is supposed to be celebrating, but that's when for some reason you feel like at your lowest. This movie came out at the perfect time.
Right,
Like it
perfect
was
time, yeah.
like perfect timing because it's like, yes, this is, even if you're not experiencing that, you still have your family around you and stuff, but like you're feeling that internally, like this is such a great thing to connect with. And I felt like really connected to it. For all the levity that's in this movie, it is really heartwarming. Like there's a lot of heartwarming and heart-wrenching moments of it. Like Mary's character has just lost her son in Vietnam.
Yeah,
And the fact that like if Angus doesn't do well in school, like he will get sent to military camp and then go to Vietnam. And we all know the history of that, how completely pointless that entire war was and how many people died in that. It's like that's why I like how they were kind of bringing home like what is at stake. Like the stakes felt high for the characters, even though we were looking at like individual people in like a really fancy New England boarding school. Like these people are going through real struggles. Like
yeah,
it's not. I really like that Define's character of Mary is very open hearted to like Angus and to Paul, but also how she finds healing because her sister's pregnant and she's gonna have a baby. And so even though she lost someone, she's gonna gain something in her life, like a new member of her family. And she gives her son's baby clothes to her sister. Like it was just such a beautiful, like full circle. Like I think that's what this movie was about too. It was like finding healing through
yeah.
found family.
The movie embodies all the things of what you want from a holiday movie. Not like when I say a good holiday movie, I don't mean like Hallmark, which is just cheesy for no reason. Like this movie is like really emotional, really sentimental. Like it fluctuates perfectly. It's not doesn't fit the musical, doesn't fit the comedy. It like is really real. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not stuck in one way or another. It just flows perfectly naturally. All the characters play off each other, and they're written so well. The actors play off each other so well. You know, especially Dominic. This being his first
Mm-hmm.
role, like
Mm-hmm.
the only reason he got the role is because they held a casting call at the school at Deerfield Academy, which was one of the shooting locations of the movie. And he was one of the
Oh.
and all he was doing before at the school was like theater and acting in plays and stuff like that. For this being his first like Hollywood role, like you mostly see people go to film school, they go to Juilliard, Yale, they do all this stuff, acting. No, I just graduated high school, last year, and now this is my, not even graduate. He was still a student. It's amazing if for him to perform the way he did, like against like Paul Giamatti. Like I said before, he's like a titan in the industry. Like an amazing job. I can't imagine, you know, doing that. I'd probably fangirl.
That is quite remarkable. Really holds his own as a co-lead to Paul
Hmm.
Giamatti in this. There's scene where Paul Giamatti goes in to speak to his parents at the end, and he's just sitting with Mary, and she holds his hand and stuff. Like that was really all that you need to know to understand that like these two people are connected. Like this, like the couple of weeks that we spent over winter break has resulted in us being this close. There is a reason why people are talking about this film in the way that they are, and especially the performances too. So like, I get it. I get it. I'm not going to be a hater. I definitely get it.
I think for me, when it got selected for Busan in the icon category. Because let's be honest, I think Korean cinema captures character essence in their stories a lot more than American films. So the fact that Busan realized, their selection committee for projects realized, oh, how good this movie was as far as it being character driven and stuff like that, I was like, okay, yeah, this movie is, yeah.
This movie's it. And
Yeah.
it is it because last night was Golden Globes. Paul won a Golden Globe. Divine won a Golden Globe. People are really connecting to the story and these performances, like, and the industry is recognizing it, which is really good and important, I think. I wouldn't think that this would be like an Oscar bait type of movie. Like, to me, that's not what this movie reads.
Mhm.
So the fact that it is doing this well is just like a testament to hopefully how things are shifting. I think we're heading in the right direction. I definitely think everyone should go see it. If you haven't already, it's streaming on Peacock.
Did you like that clip? Well, you can listen to the entire podcast because the 16mm Film Crew podcast is available on all major podcast platforms.